you to beautiful Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona. The Sox and Cubs convene for the second time this spring. Spring training baseball is presented by Canals Auto Parts. A warm welcome to you, Jason Benetti, along with Steve Stone. And when you talk about the Sox this spring, you look at the offense, the home run numbers are up in large part due to one guy who's established on the roster, but another guy looking to really make his place.
Let's talk about Matt Davidson first, because he's really made his mark this spring. This was a guy that came over in a trade with some high expectations, and this spring he's living up to it, hitting .417. He's hit 4 home runs. He's driven in 7. Look at that OPS. So you can understand where he wants to show people he can really play. Avi Garcia, on the other end, is a guy who is still very young. He wants to live up to what everybody thought about him when he came over from the Detroit Tigers. As you can see, .423, a couple of home runs, but he's driven in 11. And he's going to be a run producer. He's producing runs this spring.
The Cubs have brought their A lineup in parts today, including Anthony Rizzo.
Anthony Rizzo this year is easing his way into spring. And Joe Madden said to his veterans he wants them to be healthy. And healthy he is. But Anthony Rizzo is hitting just .273. He's not worried about the fact he's hit 1 home run and driven in 4. On the other hand, a youngster trying to make an impression, John Andrioli. We saw him last time we played the Cubs. He's not in the lineup today. But 4 home runs, 8 driven in. He's hitting .370. That's the kind of impression you want to leave. Nobody knows if he's going to make the ball club, but he has shown the Cubs that he can really hit. These teams have hit 26 and 25 home runs with the Sox on top. That leads the major leagues. That's pretty impressive in the spring. Usually you carry it over into the season.
You've also likely heard about the Adam LaRoche situation. We'll have a statement from Sox chairman Jerry Reinsdorf about that scenario coming up during the broadcast. And we are commercial free today, so we send it to our downtown Chicago studios and Chuck Garfien.
Thanks, guys. And as Jason mentioned, Adam LaRoche, he did announce he was stepping away from baseball after team vice president Kenny Williams asked him to reduce the amount of games that his son could be with the team. And this afternoon, Adam released a long statement about his situation. In that statement, he said, quote, "Obviously, I express my displeasure towards this decision to alter the agreement we had reached before I signed with the White Sox. Upon doing so, I had to make a decision. Do I choose my teammates and my career, or do I choose my family? The decision was easy, but in no way was it a reflection of how I feel about my teammates, manager, general manager, or the club's owner, Jerry Reinsdorf." Also this afternoon, Reinsdorf released a statement saying, quote, "While we appreciate everyone's attention and interest, we continue to feel that it would be premature to comment at this time. This is an internal issue, and we are in the process of holding a number of discussions with players, staff, and the front office. As a result, we do not want to comment until that process is completed. I have instructed members of the organization not to talk about this issue and get our focus back on the field and winning baseball games," end quote. And with that, back to Glendale and back to baseball with Jason and Steve. Take it away, guys.
Chuck, thank you. Beautiful day here in Glendale, Arizona, as we tend to have as the Sox take on the Cubs. And we'll take a look at the Cubs starting lineup. They have brought a number of regulars, including Dexter Fowler, the center fielder, who will lead it off against 31-year-old John Danks, coming April 15th, still 30 as we play spring training. Dexter Fowler, 5 out of 24 so far this spring, and he takes the first pitch out of the zone for ball 1.
Talked to Johnny Danks before the game. He said he's working on throwing the ball to his arm side, which is away to the right-hand hitters and in to the left-hand hitters.
Fowler swinging away on a 1-0 toward left center. Austin Jackson at the warning track squeezes out number 1. All right, here's the Cubs starting lineup. Dexter Fowler, we've seen. Jason Hayward in the 2 position. Anthony Rizzo, the 3 spot. The catcher, Miguel Montero, has had a nice spring. Then Candelario, Almora, Negron, and Alcantara, all behind the starting pitcher, though this is an American League ballpark. The pitcher, Kyle Hendricks, will bat, based on the option of Joe Madden, the Cubs' second-year skipper.
And we'll get to the defense in a little bit, as this game is moving right along.
Jason Hayward important signing for the Cubs this offseason. Does have one homer, one of the 25 for the Cubs. The Sox with 26 to their name.
And usually a guy with a good changeup, and Johnny Danks is one of those guys, has more trouble with left-handers than he does with right-handers.
Why is that?
It's because the changeup moves away from the right-hander, and it's easier to keep the ball down and away and get a guy out on his front foot, make him move his hands. The left-hander sees it a little better, and most left-handers won't throw that many straight changes to left-hand hitters. Johnny is one of those guys that will on occasion. And let's take a look at the numbers for Johnny Danks. It's 1-2 this spring. ERA a lot higher than he would like. As you can see, he's been hit pretty well. He said he feels 100%. And again, working to that arm side, he says that's been his weakness. He would like to correct it here today.
That last start came against one of the best slugging teams here in the Cactus League so far, the Arizona Diamondbacks. And John Danks told us that he felt pretty good after that start. The results just weren't there.
If John gets the ball up, he's got some problems.
Got a swinging strike 3 of Hayward and 2 down in the Cubs first. Here's the defense, Tony.
Let's take a look at how they're going to line up behind Johnny Danks. In the outfield. Well, that's how they're going to line up behind Kyle Hendricks.
We'll get to the Cubs defense as well.
We will.
We're a little early today.
Yeah.
So was the game, by the way. They were a minute early.
Well, they couldn't wait to get this started because when these two teams hook up, you have to throw out the scorebooks or something like that.
Stay away from my scorebook. I need that.
I want to throw out your scorebook, yes.
Strike 1 to Anthony Rizzo. You talked about him in the open and how important he is to the Cubs.
Well, certainly offensively, and he's a tough hitter. He stands on top of the plate. Actually, his batting average is better against left-handers than right-handers. But he's also a terrific fielder, and a lot of times that goes unnoticed by everybody but the infielders when he saves them errors.
It's probably just going to be because we're planning on taking
2-1 on Rizzo for a Cubs lineup that put up 5 runs in the first inning yesterday against those very same Arizona Diamondbacks. 4 triples in the game for the Cubs. 2-2 on Rizzo.
It's real hard to get the ball inside to Rizzo because we talked about him standing on the plate. If you go inside, you would prefer it up above his waist, certainly just under his hands, as opposed to down and in. Last year he was hit over 30 times, and he just got hit again, and that's what standing on top of the plate will do for you. And John, again, working on the arm side, lost command of this one. He got a piece of Rizzo. And he'll wind up at first.
So, Rizzo hit for the second time this spring. And 3 straight lefties brings up Montero, the Cubs catcher.
Somewhat hard to believe, but there's only been 2 major league players in history to hit as many as 30-plus home runs and be hit as many as 30-plus times. The other was a man who went on to become a pretty good manager and a hard-nosed ball player, Don Baylor.
Cub fans are familiar with Don Baylor.
After the Colorado Rockies stint as a manager, he came over and managed the Cubs.
Rizzo has yet to attempt to steal this spring. Inside corner strike. What do you think about the way Danks has handled these 3 lefties so far?
I like the fact that he's trying to get the ball inside, and he's as good as his word. He told me he was going to do that. This is a changeup, and again, there's not a lot of lefties that will throw changeups inside to left-hand hitters, but John is one of those guys that will.
Montero in the air, third base side, and that will do it for the Cubs. Here in the first inning, we are commercial free today, so we go back to our downtown Chicago studios. Chuck Garfon. Hey, Chuck.
Jason, thank you. After last year's season failed to meet expectations, there were several ways the White Sox could have approached this offseason. While rebuilding was an option, General Manager Rick Hahn went a different route, choosing to add on to an impressive core led by Chris Sale and Jose Abreu.
Different ways to get yourself in a position to win a championship. Ultimately, our goal and the goal for any of the 30 clubs is to win a World Series championship as quickly as possible. As we looked at where we sat, and certainly it was such a massive rebuild was something we had to consider. Any year or any season you come off where you didn't meet your own expectations, you have to look at everything. Otherwise, you're not doing your job properly. Ultimately, we decided we were closer to winning a championship by adding to the core that we had as opposed to stripping it all the way down to the brass tacks and rebuilding this thing. I do think that, you look at where we were at the end of the 13 season, coming off a year where we had lost 99 games, where we had an older roster, we had some financial obligations that limited our flexibility, and a farm system that wasn't universally well regarded. And you look at where we sit right now, and I think any frustration that we felt during the offseason or any fan felt during the offseason was more about not necessarily adding that last piece to put you in a position to win a championship. And when you look at where we are from a larger picture standpoint in essentially 2.5 years, I think we're pleased with that progress. We're going to continue to push to try to find that last piece. We saw last year with teams like the Mets and Toronto, they got off to good starts, not fantastic starts, but once they were able to add that piece at the deadline or augment their roster at the deadline, they really took off. So it's our goal to get the roster right as quickly as possible, but we also have to be cognizant of the fact that sometimes that takes into the season to get right.
Part of that getting the roster right includes a late addition of Austin Jackson to the Sox roster. He leads off today, followed by Jimmy Rollins and Jose Abreu, Frazier, Cabrera, and Garcia, Lori Ishikawa, and Alex Avila. The starting nine for Robin Ventura's Sox today as Austin Jackson takes a first pitch strike from Kyle Hendricks.
Kyle Hendricks uses the straight change, and he uses it very well. He was 8-7 last year. His ERA just a touch below 4. And, for a fifth starting pitcher, that's not bad. Everybody believes that your fifth starting pitcher should be in the neighborhood of your first 1 or 2, but that's usually not the case. I think they got a lot of mileage out of Kyle.
Pitched very well so far this spring. 2 starts, 3 games, 9 innings, and 11 strikeouts. Just 1 walk.
Oh, me too.
Not known as a strikeout pitcher, he does have pinpoint control.
Jackson fouls it away, the former Tiger and Seattle Mariner among others.
We'll take a look at what he's done so far. It's been pretty impressive. Just 1 walk with the 11 strikeouts that Jason mentioned. As you can see, left-handers with that changeup, not real good against them. And that holds true. You can always, if you have a guy with a good changeup, he's a right-hand pitcher, lefties will have problems. A left-hand pitcher, righties will have problems. And that's certainly the way it stacks up with these 2 guys who live and die with their changeup. Both Danks and Hendricks both have to keep it down to be effective.
Austin Jackson on the ground to third. Candelario has out number 1. Tell us about the Cubs defense, Tony.
I would love to.
Thanks.
We'll take a look at it. Almora in left, Fowler in center, and Hayward in right. It's going to be a much improved defense for the Cubs with Candelario, Negron, Alcantara, and Rizzo. Miguel Montero, a huge addition to this team, and Kyle Hendricks. Montero in his second year with the Cubs, he can really hit, and he's hitting the daylights out of the ball this year.
First pitch, a strike to Jimmy Rollins, who, like Jackson, was a late addition to this Sox club, the former National League MVP with the Phillies back in '07.
I think both of these guys, Jason, are great additions. Number 1, you can never have too much experience on your ball club. And number 2, the defense is much improved, as we know, in the outfield with the option of Austin Jackson. And Jimmy Rollins is still a smooth and very competent shortstop. He's not going to be the guy that played in 2007. He doesn't have to be. But he's going to help Saladino. I mean, this is a guy that knows how to play that position and still plays it pretty well.
As you talk about a guy later on in his career, what sorts of things can he impart to Saladino?
He's going to talk about preparation quite a bit. And I talk about preparation. What a shortstop has to know that most people don't understand is not necessarily where a guy hits the ball, but where he hits it off the guy who's pitching that day. Because everybody's going to react to a pitcher depending on his fastball and curve and slider and react a different way.
Hendricks gets strike 3, 2 down here in the first.
It's a good changeup. And talking with a lot of people that have seen Kyle Hendricks this spring, they say the ball is dropping more than it has in a long time. So perhaps he's changed the grip. Again, it was always a good change, but he's getting about 3-4 more inches of sink this spring for whatever reason, and it's really so far held him in good stead. Plus, he's always had pinpoint control.
It's a fastball strike for Abreu, who has had a mammoth spring so far. 13 out of 28. 2 of those 26 Sox homers. He is currently tied for the lead in Major League Baseball with that .464 batting average, and the stat wonks are going crazy saying it's a small sample size, but Abreu certainly will take it.
Well, he has a history of doing that. Last spring, he led the major leagues with batting average. He hit a robust .508. Not bad.
Broken bat on the ground is short. Christopher Negron. 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Hendricks. No score after 1 from Glendale. And we check in once again with Chuck Garfien.
Thanks, guys. And if you're just tuning in, the Adam LaRoche story continues to make news throughout Major League Baseball and certainly within that White Sox clubhouse. We want to, if you're just tuning in, show you a statement that Jerry Reinsdorf released today saying, quote, "While we appreciate everyone's attention and interest, we continue to feel that it would be premature to comment at this time. This is an internal issue, and we are in the process of holding a number of discussions with players, staff, and the front office. As a result, we do not want to comment until that process is completed. I have instructed members of the organization not to talk about this issue and get our focus back on the field and winning baseball games," end quote. Now let's go back to Glendale. And let me be the first for myself to welcome Jason Benetti on the air to the White Sox broadcast team. I'm a little biased, Jason, because we both went to the same high school, Homewood Flossmoor High School. So my question to you is, has it set in yet that you're calling White Sox games considering you grew up in the south suburbs like myself?
Well, I got this guy next to me, so growing up watching Steve Stone, it certainly has set in, and it's always nice to talk to a fellow WHFH and VTV alum, Chuck Garfien. Do you ever listen to WHFH, by the way?
That is a classic station, I believe.
Yeah, purely classic. Yeah.
No, it's certainly nice to be in spring training, and this is the second game that I will work with Jason. I found the first game, although the score wasn't particularly good, it was certainly entertaining and looking for a very good year this year. And remember, folks, if the team is real good, Jason and I are going to sound terrific.
We'll do our best to do that anyway. But we appreciate it, Chuck. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and for those watching at home, if you're not from the south suburbs, Jason was mentioning WHFH Radio. That was our high school radio station. So, and we had a great time working there. By the way, the highest powered high school radio station in the country. Okay, back to baseball. Guys, take it away.
You were just trying to get clicks for the WHFH website is really what's happening there.
I think it's terrific, and the fact that you guys have economically sponsored it since you've departed from high school, I think is certainly one of the great things, and something that I know embarrasses both of you.
You're great to keep around for that sort of thing, aren't you? Danks, first pitch, a strike after a 4-batter first inning. John Danks, as we said, 3 starts in. The results aren't exactly where he'd like them to be, certainly, but a solid first inning for him. In the air, right-hand side, Laurie in pursuit, gives way to Avi Garcia. 1 down.
If you establish the fact that you're going to hit the outside corner consistently to right-hand hitters, that sets up John Danks perfectly because he throws a lot of cutters, and they go inside to the right-hand hitter. So it works hand in hand. If hitters know you can't hit the outside corner, then they're just going to open up early, look inside, and middle in, they're probably going to kill you.
It literally works hand in hand.
Yes.
Here's Al Moore. Zamora, the former Cubs first-round pick, to take strike one.
Most amazingly, he was the 6th pick overall. They gave him $3.9 million, and they passed on Michael Wacha and Marcus Stroman. Stroman, one of the stars of the Toronto Blue Jays, and as all of you Cub fans know, Michael Wacha, one of the stars of the St. Louis Cardinals. And so it's not an exact science. You make your pick, you take your chances, you see how it works out. But Moore is pretty good.
3-pitch strikeout for John Danks. 2 down, and we remind you to enjoy all the benefits of being a White Sox season ticket holder by purchasing a full and split season ticket plan. Great locations are available now, and you shouldn't miss out on live action at U.S. Cellular Field this season. To purchase a full or split season ticket package and to view a list of all season ticket holder benefits, visit whitesox.com or call 312-674-1000 today. Hope you'll be a part of this season, which we're very excited about.
I really believe, from a fan standpoint, it's going to be very exciting because it's going to be a much improved offense. As leading the major leagues in home runs early is testament, Cubs are second. Sox have hit 26, the Cubs have hit 25. And many times teams will carry it right into the season. Last year, nobody has to tell you Sox fans that Sox were last in the major leagues in home runs, and that will not be the case this year with the addition of Lowry and Frazier.
Well, when you look at the Sox home run totals the last couple of years, 22 last year in spring, 28 the year before that, 41, 27, and 39. So the biggest number is that 41 and 13 dating back to 11. On pace for a significantly greater total than that. Two and 2 on Negron. Fastball inside.
Take a look at the home run leaders around the Cactus League. 26 for the White Sox. The Cubs right there. The Cubs a very powerful team. And the Indians with very good pitching, surprisingly, with 22 home runs.
Up the ladder, behind the plate. Avila in charge of it, and couldn't find it.
He had a hard time locating that ball at the beginning. We've talked many times about the high sky here in Arizona, meaning that there are just no clouds. So there's no contrast when the ball goes up in the air. And you'll see infielders, outfielders, and in this case, a catcher having all kinds of problems. He doesn't really see the baseball particularly well as it drifts away from him. So not a question of the wind. The wind almost no factor today. A question of those high skies.
So another chance for Negron. He will see a 7th pitch from Danks. Inside for a walk. Only 2 base runners have been a walk and a hit batter so far for the Cubs. Here is the speedy Arismendi Alcantara.
Alcantara out of the Dominican Republic. Last year spent most of his year at AAA, hitting .231.
Short stint with the Cubs, just a couple of hits to his name.
A couple of years ago, he was one of the highly prized prospects, but the Cubs have a proliferation of young talent. With that, he's moved pretty much down on the list. Still has a lot of flexibility, some value, and a most unusual first name, Arismendi.
Strike 1 to Alcantara. Cubs have brought, as we talked about, Cubs have brought Fowler, Hayward, Rizzo, Montero. No Kyle Schwarber in the lineup. No Baez, no Soler. Chris Bryant also not here in the lineup. 1 and 2 on Alcantara.
Soler, an interesting situation with the Cubs in that he's got a whole lot of skill, and he's very strong, and he's going to get better because he's still a fairly young outfielder. But he was mentioned prominently in a whole lot of trades, and to this point, Jed Hoyer and Theo Epstein have kept him on the ball club. He's going to be a good one.
Tapper, Danks is there. And a great pick by Abreu. 2-out walk does no harm for Abreu and the Sox after 1.5. No score. Back to Chuck Hartfeld.
Well, Adam Eaton's passion for baseball has been evident as he enters his third season on the South Side. After his family, Eaton's passion off the field is his 2012 Corvette. He grew up in Ohio, and because of his father and uncle, he spent his childhood around the sport of drag racing. He took us for a ride in Glendale and discussed why the Corvette is unlike any other car.
And I always thought a Corvette was really fast, and so, you know, be an American muscle, growing up an American, you're like, you know what, I want to make enough money to afford a Corvette one day, and you know, now that I can, I hope to own many of them. Cars in general kind of give yourself a personality. So for me, this car is very loud, it's very brash, it's not going to mess around. Kind of gets you in the heart, and that really the car just wants more. It always wants to go fast. It always wants to, you know, push it. So it's kind of like me in a sense, American made, and always is pushing the limits. I love the Midwest. I truly do. I love the Midwest. I love the people of Chicago. You know, there's different people all over the world. You know, West Coast, East Coast, Southerners, you know, Southeasterns. The Midwestern lifestyle and the people in the heart of the Midwest are truly, in my opinion, the best people in the world. I think that they're wholesome, they're, you know, fun-loving, they get life, and they, by the same time, they have a lot of respect. You know, with the cold weather, you know, it builds character and all of that. It's truly, you know, I love the people that I work with and who I play around.
We're joined by the Corvette of Sox history here. Adam Eaton's talking about cars. Would you say you're the Corvette here? Bo Jackson's with us.
Yeah, back then I was a Corvette. Right now I'm the dually.
Yeah.
I'm the dually pickup truck.
What are you up to? How's life?
Working, traveling, working and traveling. That's all I'm doing right now. Traveling and working. That's all I got.
Just those two things.
That's all I got.
And I know the Sox fans would like to know how long you're going to be down here, because when you do come down here, the fans love to see you. I'm sure the players love to see you. You have so much to impart to them. So how long can we expect you to grace our club?
You all will be graced with my presence till this time next Tuesday.
And then gone.
And then I'm gone because I got to get back and get to work. I started a new company last year, and I'm in the food industry, so got to make a lot of phone calls, go see a lot of people. So busy.
What do you think of this club right now?
This is my first sight of them since last year, and just from being this morning and warm-ups and everything, everybody's in a good position. Everybody is in a good place right now. A lot of positive attitudes, and guys are having fun talking, and actually they are talking about playing the game instead of talking about everything else.
As a guy who hit the ball out of the ballpark and could do that, always with the power potential and the reality of it, what's Frazier going to do with this team to add to Abreu, who is a power hitter? Now you have another prolific power hitter.
Well, when I look at the White Sox from a team standpoint, the White Sox probably got more hitting power than any other team within the league. And the only thing that I say to the guys, because I watched them take batting practice this morning, I said, make yourself see the ball hit your bat. Don't try to hit the ball wrong. Just make contact. And these guys are bigger, stronger, faster than when we played, so they don't have to muscle the ball out. They just got to put the solid part of the bat on the ball, and the rest is history.
How difficult is it to see the bat and the ball at the same time? I mean, most guys seem to line it up, and sometimes you watch their head. It's not really down on the ball.
No, their head is up there in the clouds. Their heads are up there in the clouds. And I'm no hitting expert. If I were, I wouldn't have struck out as many times.
Yeah, you're pretty good at it.
But just from this side of the fence, you see a whole lot more than you would if we were still playing.
1-2 on Avi Garcia with 2 down, joined by Bo Jackson. What was spring training like for you?
Spring training was fun.
Yeah.
Because at the time I was living in the Midwest, everybody wants to get out of cold weather. I got out of snow plowing. So that was a thing. That was the thing. But spring training is always fun. Spring training is always fun. You get to get with your guys again and get to rehash all of the things from the year before, and you get to spend time with the fans because the fans are closer. You're more intimate, not only with your teammates but with your fans because everybody's right here.
Bo, always a pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Bo Jackson with us. We'll check in with Chuck Garfien.
Well, just 2 years ago, Carlos Rodon was the #3 overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft. Heading into 2016, the Sox are counting on him being a key member of the starting rotation. Rodon was a mixed bag in 2015, but finished strong for sure. In his last 8 starts, he went 5-2 with a 1.81 ERA, and now, in year 2, he is a much more confident pitcher.
Way different than last year, you know. Didn't really know what to expect at all coming in here. I was real quiet. Didn't know what to do, and you know, this year a little more confident. Know the guys, know my teammates, and you know, it's a lot easier transition. Just knowing what to do and knowing where to be. I mean, there's a lot of unwritten rules as well, so know how to follow those, and you know, just show up and get the job done. I mean, I learned something when I was younger in college. The only expectations are the ones you have for yourself and the one your teammates have, you know, as a team. And those are expectations you have to abide by and try to live up to. So you block out all, you know, what all the media is saying and your fans. No offense to the fans, but you know, it's a job that we have to do, and our expectations matter the most. When you step off from the side and you get on the mound, it seems like you just lock in, and it's game time. You forget. You don't think about mechanics. You just think about pitching and competing, and you let that take over, and you're in the flow of things, and you know, guys get outs for you, and you strike guys out and score runs, and eventually you win a ball game. You can say all you want, but you have to prove it out here on the field, and that's a totally different aspect. You talk as much as you want, but you got to walk the walk, man.
Got to walk the walk, Stoney. You always walk the walk.
I do talking the talk a little bit better these days than walking the walk.
Yes. First pitch is strike to Kyle Hendricks, who is 6 out of 84 in his career as a hitter. All right, so spring training, pitchers hitting.
Yes.
That's a fun time for them, right?
Well, what they're trying to do, especially when you're 6 for 84, you're trying to get your stroke refined. Because you want to make sure when you tap to second base during the regular season that you've got it all down.
This one makes its way out to center, and Austin Jackson one away.
You're talking about a man sitting next to you did reach triple digits. I hit 100. And I had a base hit taken away, for which I am infinitely bitter. And otherwise, I'd have been about 103. So,
did we bring the Comcast Sportsnet violins to play for that story?
I think we have that.
I don't hear them.
It's pretty sad, actually.
Here's Fowler, who flied out to center back in the first. And a wayward breaking ball from Danks.
Dexter, a late addition to the Cub team, and they're pretty happy to have him back because he does close a hole they had. They were going to play Jason Hayward in center field. They feel he's better suited to play right, where he's one of the best in baseball. And now Fowler, who's very familiar with the Cubs and center field at Wrigley Field, is back in a Cub uniform. And being a switch hitter, he gives them a little more flexibility in a very potent lineup.
3 switch hitters in today's lineup for the Cubs. Fowler, Hayward, Rizzo, Montero, the top 4. A little bit low. 3-1.
Fowler is a better hitter from the right side, probably a little more power from the left side. Quite obviously, as a switch hitter, you get many more at-bats as a left-hand hitter than you do as a righty.
Ball 4 from Danks. 2 walks so far for John Danks. No hits allowed. 1 down for Hayward.
You saw Hayward play a lot. What do you think he's going to bring to this Cub team?
you would imagine, depending on where he hits, that added depth in a lineup and a professional at bat all the way through.
We've seen him a couple times. We've seen him hit in the top of the order a couple times. And I think because he doesn't have to be the guy in this lineup, it's going to benefit him. He's going to be a guy in a very potent offensive lineup.
There's been so much talk in baseball about the right type of two-hitter. He's the two spot today. And, you know, you want somebody who can set the tables. There's a ground ball to second. Laurie Rollins, not in time, just a fielder's choice.
The right type of two-hitter comes about if you have a guy that knows when he has to make contact, he can make it. You don't want a guy going to strike out 150 times hitting the two spot. You also want a guy, if he's going to be a left-hand hitter, you want a guy to be able to pull the ball in the hole on the right side. There's a lot of two hitters. If they're right-hand hitters, you want them to be able to hit the ball behind the runner, again, in the hole on the right side. So depends on which side you hit from, but a number two hitter probably has more responsibilities in the lineup than any other spot in the lineup. That's why it's so important, and that's why you find so very few good ones.
2 down for Rizzo. He's blocked by Avila.
That's one of the things that I think that Sox fans are going to appreciate, and that is the defensive ability of Alex Avila. You move out, you make sure you have most of your body in front of it. Now, he happened to catch that. For a catcher, he just wants to make sure he blocks it and keeps it in front of himself.
Rather than stab it.
Rather than backhand it, which you see some catchers do, or stab at it. A catcher wants to absorb the ball. You don't want to reach out and go get it. As many times if you do that, you're going to see a catcher's interference, which puts a man on.
Ball and a strike on Rizzo. 31 homers last year. He takes a high strike 2.
Don Cooper, one of the best in the business, has had a very, very long and illustrious career as a pitching coach and can turn a lot of people around.
Jammed Rizzo. Will it stay in is the question. The answer's no. And a row number 2.
If you have a pitching coach of quality, Don Cooper, and there are a lot of very good pitching coaches around, a general manager feels pretty good about bringing in a guy who has underachieved in a number of different places, turning him over to Coop, and maybe just a little adjustment. Matt Thornton comes to mind. A little adjustment he made with Thornton, who had trouble getting the ball over the plate when he was with Seattle. He came here, one side session. Don mentioned a couple of things he was doing. He never had control problems again. And that really gives a general manager a whole lot of confidence in bringing in new pitchers.
Rizzo fouls it away. You'd imagine that's the idea behind Matt Latos, who's fighting for that 4/5 position in the starting rotation.
I think that's probably what allowed Rick Hahn to bring him in with a good idea that Matt, who came up with such high hopes, can reach a plateau in his career that he has never attained before by controlling the baseball a little bit better than he ever has.
That's a laser foul away by Rizzo. He'll see a 7th pitch. It's the 4th start of the spring for John Danks. And first time for the order went swimmingly for him. Just 2 base runners. That one gets away from Avila, and Hayward up to second.
That's going to be a wild pitch as that ball hit the dirt. Avila, who blocked the last one on this curveball, it does hit the chest protector in the right spot, only it bounds away. Rizzo chokes up on the bat as much as anybody in the league, and especially for a power hitter, he has much better bat control, can take the ball out in left center field, and has really become a devastating hitter. In fact, with Bryant and Rizzo at the corners, they're about as good as anybody.
2-2, Hayward's off, and down goes Rizzo. Third strikeout for John Dinks in the game. Strands a runner on for the Cubs. And we say hello again to Chuck Garfien at our downtown Chicago studios.
Thanks, Jason. The White Sox have one of the longest tenured training medical staffs in baseball. Longevity and consistency are two things that have helped Alan Thomas, the White Sox director of strength and conditioning, to build one of baseball's best programs. One of the keys to a season is keeping players healthy and able to avoid injury, and that begins at spring training.
When you get some consistent things in place, which we've been in place for a long time, more than any other organization, then it helps. So that's also coming from Kenny, Jerry Reinsdorf, Rick Hahn. They've all been great. Never said really no to me about anything, but have always backed me. So I think that was, that was good. You're the one on the camera, pal. I wouldn't be caught with anything less than 60s. Look. They put you on that digital screen out there. That wow, that is clearly a 6. I'm sorry, that is 6 pounds. Wow. The older guys are the challenge. The younger ones that come through our, they come through our segment, the White Sox, and so Dale, Tim, Sean, those guys really prep them. So when they come over here and they're in big league camp, those guys are easy, man. Stay low. There you go. Oh. Excuse me. Did you add that weight right there? Always. You put the drink on it to add an extra 10 pounds? Yeah. You never know.
Spring training baseball is presented by Canals Auto Parts. Welcome back to Camelback Ranch. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, our entire crew. Sox baseball, and still no runs across as Brett Lawrie leads it off, and Travis Ishikawa and Alex Avila 7 through 9 in the order for the Sox. No hits on the board, Stoney.
Both pitchers thrown pretty well. John with a couple of walks, but he's been able to pitch over it. Hendricks, who's had just a magnificent spring, continuing with that with a couple of strikeouts, running his spring total to 13 with just one walk.
First pitch is strike to Lawrie, who hit a career-high 16 homers last year. Strong second baseman as well. Who, by the way, has great family baseball/softball ties. His older sister, Danielle, was a pitcher for Washington. She was the ace of the staff back in 2008. Pitched for Team Canada as well. 1 and 2 on Lawrie. It's pronounced, by the way, like the lady's name, Lori. I don't see too many Lories with that kind of eye black on, though. After our first game, I asked him, "How does it take you hours to put that on?" And he said, "No, it's just a couple minutes." It looks like a process.
It's a decent look. Doesn't help you very much when you're looking at fly balls, but he looks at strike 3, and that's 7 in a row. Retired by Hendricks. Tonight, Andrew Ladd leads the Hawks against his former team as they head north of the border to Winnipeg. Looking to end their 4-game skid. Coverage begins at 6:30 with Chevy Blackhawks pregame live right here on CSN Chicago. It's spring training for my promos, by the way, also. Just
that was well done. It was like a 9.5.
No, thanks.
Out of 50.
I'm trying to get right. I'm trying to get the other 43 or 4, whatever that is.
Here's Ishikawa, who's DHing today for the Sox. That's the central position of focus, maybe, for who's going to play that role with the retirement of Adam LaRoche today. The Sox do have options at the DH position.
I think it really gives Robin Ventura a lot of flexibility because it wasn't that way when Adam was here.
Ishikawa to right field, and foul. No, it is fair ball, and he's into second safely. So Ishikawa a double with one down, and a one-out double.
First hit of the ball game, and Travis crushes this ball. Again, down and in. It was a changeup. And down and into left-handers is really a trouble spot. They're going to mash it. And this one off the wall before Hayward can get it back in. Ishikawa slides into second base. So he's bidding for some playing time. And you're right. The departure of Adam LaRoche opens it up. And, in fact, especially if Adam Eaton, who you talked to, and we'll talk about that as far as his playing time is concerned, if he has any further problems or they want to give his arm a rest, they can use him as a DH, which is what he's done the last week or so.
He's likely to play the field tomorrow for the first time this spring. Spring training for all of us. 2-0 on Avila. Two balls and a strike on Avila. You look at Alex Avila's numbers, and total for his career, he's taken about 58% of the pitches he's seen. He's very much a long at-bat type of guy.
What we see also with Avila is that just about every team is going to shift on him in the infield. The Cubs have that shift in the infield, but in the outfield they play him straight away. He doesn't hit a lot of ground balls to the left side, but he will drive the ball to left center field on occasion, although he is viewed by most teams as primarily a dead pull hitter.
2-2. Inside, 3-2.
Austin Jackson sitting in the on-deck circle and waiting to get his opportunity to start swinging the bat defensively. He is an outstanding center field.
Through the right side, base hit for Avila. Ishikawa stops at third.
There is an example of what happens in spring training that won't happen during the season, and that is if the ball's not hit at somebody, the infield is rock hard. You don't get many rain out here, and although you're going to water down the infield, when it hits the dirt surface, it accelerates, and it just shoots through. That's why the batting averages in Arizona are so much different than they are batting averages in Florida.
How many points do you think that's actually worth over the course of a spring?
I got to believe a good 20, 30 points. The reason is on most ground balls, especially as you head north and you get fairly soft infields, a ball that an infielder can get to, especially one with good range, down here you have no chance. It just will shoot through.
Jackson deep to right. Hayward turns around and puts it away. The Sox are on the board on the sac fly, scoring Ishikawa 1-0.
Good execution by Austin Jackson. Knowing the last thing you really wanted was a ground ball, he waited to find something he could loft into the air, and Hayward, who's an outstanding outfielder, we talked about that, actually overruns this ball, has to come back, make the catch, and that's the first run batted into the spring for Austin Jackson.
First Sox RBI for Jackson. Here's Jimmy Rollins. A slap foul. So Ishikawa leads the charge with a double, then the Avila single, and the Jackson sac fly, the anatomy of the Sox first run. On the ground to second base, the shortstop Negron is there on the shift for out number 3. Sox are on the board first. We go to the fourth, but first, Chuck Arfon. Hey, Chuck.
Alex Avila with a single there in that inning, and for the first time in his career, the Sox new catcher, Alex Avila, not wearing a Tigers uniform, and he's not a part of the same organization as his father, Al, who is now the new general manager of the Tigers. While the split with Detroit might seem like an unusual cause of family ties, Avila says it's anything but that.
People would come up to him in Detroit and say, "Hey, aren't you Alex's dad?" rather than the other way around. So now it might be different, though, with him being the general manager. But, you know, I think it'll be nice, you know, for the both of us, obviously, now being in separate organizations. I was with the Tigers for 7 years. He's obviously been there longer, but actually having an opportunity to work together towards a common goal of winning a World Series was amazing, and it was a blessing for us. We cherished that time we had. 7 years is a long time already for a player to be with one team. So as a family, we were very fortunate in that, and we took advantage of it because, you know, many times I remember growing up playing Little League, high school, college. You know, my dad couldn't always be at my games. I very rarely was at my games because he was working. You know, being in Major League Baseball, it's 24/7, 365. So I was fortunate to have that type of upbringing, but at the same time, sacrifices are made, and then it all kind of was our reward the last 7 years, where he gets to watch me play every single day in the big leagues. So I don't know what father wouldn't want that, and what son wouldn't want that either.
Back to Glendale, 1-0 Sox with the lead. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, and Robin Ventura joins us from downstairs. Robin, welcome in. Thank you for the time as always.
Oh, you're welcome, Jace. Thanks for coming.
You been doing anything lately?
Yeah, we've been having fun. We've been having some fun. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're ready to play.
What do you like so far from John Danks?
Well, I think if he's pounding the strike zone, he's better. I mean, he's always going to be that way. I think once he's throwing strikes, hitting corners, that changeup becomes a lot better.
He'll face Montero, Candelario, and Almora here in the fourth.
Robin, during the course of your career, which spanned a long time, you realize you're going to have things that pop up that are necessarily distracting. But what do you feel about guys who are true professionals in a game that's an everyday game where there's always a game tomorrow? Can they just block everything out when it comes time to go between the lines?
Well, I think that's what you're working through right now. I think we have a lot of guys that have played a while. We have a lot of pros. We brought in a lot of new guys, but these guys are pros. They're able to put it behind them. You know, there's still issues that are there, but you know, haven't played a long time. I've been in a couple sit-ins that you know, probably were a distraction for a little bit, but you got back to playing, and everybody's going to be better for it. They're a little tighter-knit group than we thought a few days ago. I can tell you that.
Well, I love the chemistry in the clubhouse. I think the addition, certainly of Frazier and Lowry coming in, and veterans like Jimmy Rollins at this point, it's got to be able to help you guys. It wasn't that the chemistry was bad last year. It's just that the addition of these veterans seemed to really have turned things around in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you start looking at different guys coming in, you know, that's been the biggest thing. I think you're seeing guys come in, and you add Frazier, his personality, his confidence at what he does, how he does it. Jimmy's the same thing. He came in, just immediately his respect in the clubhouse, you know, grew everything to a point where, you know, stuff started flying around, and they cleared it up pretty quick.
Robin, Adam Eaton out of the lineup today, likely to play the field tomorrow, is that right?
Yeah, he's actually going to go out in the field. You know, trying to give him 2 days off, and I had him in the game in Maryville on Wednesday. So, you know, for me, it was more trying to find him 2 days. This became that 2 days. Just like DeHonor, he caught in a B game yesterday, and it was supposed to be a scheduled day off. So give him that day today, and then those guys are back tomorrow.
What kind of reports do you get from those B games? For fans, what do you hear, and how much do you hear about those games?
Oh, you hear plenty. I mean, you know, Coop's there. I've been to quite a few of them, so, you know, you're trying to get those guys back there to get their pitch count up. Either Avila or Navarro's going over there catching those guys, so you get a pretty good rapport with what's going on.
For your starting pitchers, when will you get to the point where you're going to allow them to go deep into the ball game, maybe 6 or 7?
Left field. Soon we're going to start doing that. We're going to see guys go a little bit deeper.
It's over Cabrera's head, and a double for Candelario, who's 1 for 2.
You got Chris Sale going to the mound tomorrow. What are you expecting from your all-star left-hander?
Oh, I think the same stuff. I mean, we're starting to get him out here where he can pitch in these games, but he's been stretching it out enough, and we're trying to get him right on track to start on opening day, healthy and ready to go. I know last year there was a bit of a hiccup, and he couldn't start opening day, but you know, he's excited for the opportunity, definitely.
What are you looking at evaluation-wise the final 2 weeks of spring? What do you hope to see? What do you want from your team, and maybe what positions are you looking at?
Well, I think, you know, some of it has become...
Great pick by Frazier for the double play.
Some of it has become over because we got a double play.
How about that? Quick answer?
I think, well, no, I mean, you know, for us, we've got, now with everything that's kind of transpired, we got another spot there that we got to try and fill, and right now it's going to be internally.
Sounds good. Robin, thank you.
All right, I'll see you guys.
Sox skipper Robin Ventura joining us for an abbreviated 4th inning. Bottom 4 next. Chuck Garfien.
Well, in December, the CSN crew, in conjunction with the MLB Goodwill Tour, went to Cuba to follow Jose Abreu's first trip back to his homeland since defecting in 2013. The admiration for the 2014 Rookie of the Year was jaw-dropping. In a lengthy interview in Havana, Abreu discussed many topics, among them his thanks to the White Sox organization for helping making him the player he is today.
Without any further ado, I'd like to welcome to Chicago, Jose Abreu.
Tengo que agradecerle mucho a la afición de Chicago y a los White Sox. Tengo que agradecerle mucho que si no fuera por ellos no estuviéramos hablando del tema. Créanme que no hay palabras de cómo agradecerle que me dieron la oportunidad, a mi familia que viviera de la manera que de verdad merecían ellos por todos sus esfuerzos y todas las cosas que hicieron para que José Daniel Abreu fuera la persona que soy hoy mismo.
His being humble, and of course it started already with the White Sox, that also, you know, translates into being unselfish. And when you're unselfish, you're going to be a good team player. And I think ultimately he's going to be the center of a very special team.
Hey, customize your own Pick 7 or Pick 14 season flex plan today. The Pick 7 and Pick 14 plans feature savings off individual game tickets. For tickets or more information, visit whitesox.com or call 312-674-1000. Jose Abreu, first pitch swinging, left-hand side, and one away on the catch by Negron. Jesus Guzman has checked in at first, by the way, for the Cubs. Sox leading 1-0, having a much better day today than the Michigan State Spartans fans.
How about that upset?
Wow. Kermit Davis in Middle Tennessee. They're partying in Murfreesboro. So Frazier, who is 0 for 1 with a ground ball to short.
What you're trying to do with Hendricks is you want to hit that first fastball you see, because if he gets you in a situation where he can use that straight change, especially if he keeps it away to the right-handers, he's going to be pretty tough.
That was away to Frazier, who popped it up, and Guzman's first look after checking into the game is out number 2. Well, Robin Ventura hit on it as we let him go. The options internally for the Sox at designated hitter likely include some of these outfielders on a rotating basis.
It also might come into play when you evaluate Travis Ishikawa, because he's one of the things that the Sox really need, which is a guy that can make a difference and swing the bat from the left side.
Ishikawa double last inning for the Sox.
Melky really becomes a key man in this lineup because he's a switch hitter, because he is a lifetime 284, 285 hitter. He's got to get off to a good start, as do most of these guys, but Melky particularly important. When you've got a switch hitter with a track record and a guy who has shown that he can hit just about all major league pitching, to get off to the kind of start he had last year is not something that he wants to repeat this year.
We talked about it the other day. Under 10 RBIs of his nearly 80 for the year came in the month of April. So 71 after the final day of April. Cabrera left field and put away by Almora. Quick 1-2-3 inning for Hendricks. Still a 1-0 lead for the Sox after 4. And back to our downtown Chicago studios. Chuck Garfien.
Thanks, Jason. With the addition of 37-year-old switch hitter Jimmy Rollins, the White Sox added experience and a presence from the former National League MVP. Rollins understands his role and what he has to offer for younger players and veterans alike, and everyone is hoping to benefit from his addition to the team.
You know, when things are good in any walk of life, you know, things seem easy. Everybody's having fun. You're enjoying each other. You're enjoying being around each other. But that can't stop when you're losing, because you have to be able to look over to your left and your right and know that the guy's in the same war that you're fighting, that you're in the same battle every day. You're putting on the same uniform. And, you know, we all have our individual names on the back. But as long as we're playing for each other, it doesn't matter what your name is. It doesn't matter how many years you have in or how many days you have in. You're here to do a job, and we expect that of you. And when you can, you know, rely on that in the hard times, that, you know, everybody's pulling the same direction, you stay out of ruts. But when, you know, teams start going different ways, and I've been there, then you stay in them longer. And everybody's trying to figure out, you know, what they need to do for themselves today instead of how can I help this team win. So it starts by having fun with each other, yes. And I guess you just build on that as you start winning.
He's a happy-go-lucky guy. Loves it out here, but he's a competitor. He's, you know, just like anybody else. He's gonna get out here and get his work in, and he knows what it takes. So I just want to, you know, I can't get enough of it. I want to be around and see how him and these other guys handle themselves.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Chicago White Sox and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Chicago White Sox.
That's an exceptional disclaimer, all things considered. Under these conditions, with the wind blowing as it is, the high sky, very nice disclaimer.
Well, normally a cloudless sky is very difficult on a disclaimer, so thank you for acknowledging that.
Thought it was outstanding overall.
Very kind of you. Here's Negron, who takes a strike.
I'd like to pass along best wishes to Tim Welke, the longtime Major League umpire, retiring. He started working in 1984. 4 World Series, 7 League Championship Series, 8 Division Series, and 3 All-Star games. And everybody seems to think that only players can get injured in this game, but Tim Welke, with 1 knee replacement in January, looking at another one in June, decided that, as he put it, it's time for the younger guys to take over.
Well, that's the type of job that's really tough on the knees.
It's not an easy job. I mean, you've got to really hustle. You have to be in the umpire rotations. You have to be very quick to the spot. The one thing where the players will get on you is if you're not in position to make the call. It's one thing to miss a call. Everybody's going to miss them. You've got to be in position.
There's strike 3 from Danks, his 5th punch out of the afternoon.
Johnny's looking real strong. He told me he felt great when I talked to him before the game. He's accomplishing what he wants to accomplish, and that is keeping the ball in the zone on the arm side, which for him is away to the right-hand hitters, into the lefties. It's surprising because most pitchers are arm side strong. John is arm side weak.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that, for instance, when I threw with the arm side, which was into right-handers, away to lefties, that was an 85% pitch for me. I could throw it for strikes 85% of the time, feel confident. When I went to the other side, which is glove side, I felt it was a 65% pitch. And as much as I worked on it, just didn't get there. So instead of trying to throw fastballs in, when I figured out it wasn't quite as it should be, I started to cut the ball, and it was easier to get a release point in the middle of the plate and move it in to the left-hand hitters than it was to actually try to throw a fastball in, which had a tendency to tail back over the plate anyway. Those get hit very hard and get hit, taken a long way.
One and 2 on Alcantara. Little bit low.
Coming in, the Sox 7-7-1, this being game number 16. The Cubs, not a particularly good spring, 5-11-1.
They have turned on the offense recently.
They've been scoring a whole lot of runs. They're going to do that. They're an offensive machine, and the only question will be depth in the starting rotation. That's a factor, as always. Will they keep 8 pitchers or 7 pitchers with one more move for Joe Maddon off the bench? That's yet to be determined. But the tail end of the rotation, just about everybody concerned about that.
There's strike 3 from Danks. Back-to-back punch-outs looking of Negron and Alcantara.
Tomorrow, the IHSA Boys Basketball Finals continue on CSN. Catch the Class 3A Championship at 2, followed later by the Class 4A Championship at 8:30. Both games will be streaming live on csnchicago.com/Illinois High School. CSN Chicago, your home for IHSA championships.
You're a big advocate of high school sports.
I really believe that in my case, as is the case with a few more than just me, it helped keep me out of some areas that I didn't want to go into in high school. I thought it was one of the great things you can do, get involved in sports, make sure that you are working very hard to achieve a goal. I think that's a life lesson that a lot of youngsters learn. I think it's terrific. And I think it's terrific for both boys and girls as they come up through. And plus, you can get yourself a scholarship doing that.
Johnny Danks just struck out the side here in the 5th inning. Strikeout number 7 out of 15 total outs today for Danks. 4.5 complete. Sox up 1-0. Chuck Garfien.
Thanks, Jason. The White Sox signed Alex Avila and Dioner Navarro this offseason, reshaping their catching both offensively and defensively. Both have personalities. They are players that gravitate to Navarro in the clubhouse for his leadership and his personality. Both were apparent when Dioner was wearing our GoPro camera in Glendale.
I hope this thing is shutter-proof. Nice. Much better today. Yeah. Coming out nice, yeah. Yeah, looser. Looser, right. You can see it. How you doing, man? Good. You? Good seeing you. How you doing, bro? Good seeing you. Cheers. Get to know their personality, get to know their likes, their dislikes, and you know, kind of get a picture and better idea of every single one, because that's my job.
Oh, get through there.
I don't know. I close my eyes. This is me. What you see is what you get. You know, I just try to bring not only my, you know, physical abilities, but I just trying to keep everybody loose, relax, and go out there and enjoy our game. You know, that's what we love doing. So, might as well have fun while you're doing it.
Drop down. Drop down.
Oh boy. Still a little too much movement.
All right. What a movement today.
Wow.
Man.
Well, they will let anybody into Camelback Ranch, won't they? Frank Thomas joins us. How about that? Frank, how are you?
Happy to be back. This is a great day, and the weather, spring training, you know, I totally miss it. I found myself over there watching pitchers' timing and everything else, but it's good to be back, man. I'm happy to be in spring training.
Officially a part of the organization.
Yes.
Great to have you. What was spring training like for you? I mean, you basically had it all figured out, though, didn't you?
Never had it figured out. I was always a notorious slow starter, so, you know, when I came to spring, I really worked because, you know, around the 26th and 27th, I wanted to be ready to go for the season. So I spent a lot of extra time in the batting cage and really trying to get my swing down because I was a late starter every year.
When you were coming up, did guys report to spring training in great shape, or did they come to spring training trying to round into shape before they really got it going?
I'll be honest, my first 5 years, guys never came to shape.
Really?
And then all of a sudden, you know, we got more strength trainers and other people, conditioning people in the organization, and it totally changed. Guys started coming in a little bit in better shape. But I noticed that guys started to, like, dwindle at the end of spring training. They were tired. They were, you know, they felt like they were there a week too long. But that's why I like the old school way of doing things. You know, work out a little bit, in decent shape, come to spring training, but you come here to work your butt off and get in shape for the season.
When did you want to have it all put together as far as your stroke and your timing was concerned as it pertains to spring training and, you know, just the length or the duration of it?
For me, I was hoping I hit my first home run the last day of spring training. You know, I want to carry that right into the season. You know, I see guys come down here hit 10 bombs in spring training. They don't mean anything unless you're trying to make a team. I've seen veterans do it, and then they fizzle out the first month of April. Have to get it going because you don't want to play too well in spring training. For me, it was about that last week of spring training. I want to feel like I was getting consistent at-bats.
How do you ramp that up, though, from a slow start all the way into the end of spring training?
I just timed it right. I came here to work. Most guys, you know, they really, it's so hot down here, and, you know, it's a long day. You start 7 a.m., you're done most of the time about 4 o'clock. So, for me, I paid attention to details in spring training and really came here to work to get ready for the season.
Morey pops it up after the fly out by Garcia. Montero is on it for round number 2. We're joined by Frank Thomas. What are you up to? How's everything going?
I'm doing well, man. I'm just happy to come back to the organization and help any kind of way I can. It just felt good to walk through the clubhouse today and see old faces and see guys going through what I know they're going through. It was good to talk to some of the younger players and have a little fun with them.
What is manager Robin Ventura like?
He's the same old guy with me. You know, we broke in basically the same time. He was a year before me. But Robin was my first roommate. He took me in with open arms when I came out of Auburn. He was great. I first came to the big league. He was my year-older mentor, but they really looked at us as the future, and we had a good time with it. Robin and I played together a long time. I was really sad when he left, when he had to leave. But there's one guy I thought I would play my whole career with.
What was he like as a roommate?
Tell you what, Robin is the biggest poker face there's ever been. You can never really tell what's going through his mind because he's so even keel. But I know one thing. He's very passionate about the game of baseball.
First time you saw him as a player, did you realize that he would be as good as he turned out to be?
Yeah, because coming out of Oklahoma State, he was one of the best hitters in the college game. And you can see that stroke when I first got hit in the big league. But he could really man third base, too. I mean, he was a great third baseman. He helped me at times at first base. I tell people, maybe that's why he's a manager now. But he would come over and break down me at first base and try to teach me how to, you know, turn a double play better and do other things on the field.
Did you ever play against him in college?
Not at all.
Never did?
Not at all. I mean, we had like 4 straight great drafts with Jack McDowell, Robin Ventura, myself, Alex Fernandez, and it really turned around the culture of this organization like this. It seemed like it was overnight. We started winning, we got on the fast track, and we all became star players in this league.
By the way, that was Al Goldus responsible because he was the scouting director at the time, and I don't believe there will ever be 4 consecutive #1 draft choices by any organization that achieved what you 4 did during the course of your careers. It was outstanding in those days.
Al got it right, and Larry Himes was the general manager at the time, but you're right, Al was down in Florida making some great things happen, and he, you know, followed us the entire year in our college games, and he knew we'd be ready for the big leagues very soon, and it worked out.
We talked to our fans about training in Arizona, training in Florida. What for you was the biggest difference in the 2 places?
You know what, in Florida, you can lose a lot more weight, but in Arizona, you had more consistent days, and you can plan that you really want to get at least 30 great days and get in shape for the season.
Well, if my partner loses more weight, we're going to have some problems. Because
Welcome to the phone, Jason. We're happy to have you. You got big shoes to fill, though.
I do.
I do. But
and
we're
white
happy
shoes.
to have you.
What's that, Steve?
White shoes to fill.
Yeah, I don't think I could pull those off. Hey, have you gotten to talk to Todd Frazier at all? What do you make of him and his
Todd
game?
Frazier's a guy that I want to get to talk to because I met him last year the first time at the All-Star game. He's a character, but he's a hard-nosed player, and I heard he's a grinder, and he's great in the clubhouse. So I want to get down and talk to him because the culture of this team has changed. Watching this team right now, there's some very skilled ball players on this Chicago White Sox roster this year. This team's going to be something to deal with.
Certainly appreciate having you.
It's a pleasure, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back to the organization.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Good
Frank
to see you.
Thomas with us here in Glendale at Camelback Ranch.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. How about that? Frank Thomas joins us here in the booth. John Danks is done for the day.
Johnny Danks had quite a day today. Had 7 strikeouts, accomplished everything he wanted to accomplish, gave up only 1 hit. The straight change was very good. He was able to get inside on the right-handers after setting them up away, and all things considered, he was excellent. And so David Robertson, the closer, comes into the ball game, and closers will come in any time in the spring. Quite obviously, they're just trying to get an inning in here, trying to look at their pitches, trying to see what everything is doing at any given point during the course of spring training. And David has been around a long time. there is no doubt that outs number 25, 6, and 7 are by far the toughest outs to get. And as a testament to that, there are very few guys who are what's termed lockdown closers. And those are guys who will save 85% of the games year after year after year. Every team wants one. Not every team has one.
Sox will turn to Robertson here in the 6th. And first pitch hunting popped up to the right-hand side. Avi Garcia is on the case, and this ball is foul.
The Cubs have had a couple of injuries, none of them considered very serious. Ben Zobrist, their free agent acquisition, has an ingrown toenail. That's going to keep him out a few days. And Javi Baez jammed his thumb with a head-first slide into first base, something that we have talked about many times, something to avoid if you're a young player.
Especially in spring training.
Very few good things are going to happen with a head-first slide into first. And for Baez, who's trying to make this team as a swingman, it's not a particularly good thing to do this anytime, but especially in spring training. And here it is. We'll take a look. Hustling down the line, but he was trying to dive away from what he thought would be a tag. Instead, he wound up jamming his thumb. We've seen guys with elbow injuries, shoulder injuries, a lot of hand injuries doing the same thing.
Risk reward. Very little reward. I mean, you're safe in spring training, but what
Not
does
much.
that get you?
And I do believe that for all of the people who truly believe, and there are many who believe this, you can get to first base more quickly diving than you can running. Just take a look at the Olympics. Take a look at maybe the world's fastest man, Usain Bolt. Find out if he ever dives through the finish line, or if he stands straight up and leans through the tape. You'll find that he never dives.
4th straight strikeout for a Sox pitcher. Robertson enters and gets his first punch out.
His fastball acts as a cutter. This one moved away. Ryan Blakeney ringing him up.
That'd be a big dude, Usain Bolt diving. I mean, you talk about track burn.
Yes.
Bad news.
And also he would get there more slowly, and where hundredths or thousandths of a second determine gold and silver or world records and not.
He's going to do whatever's the smartest.
I was going to say, if you could get there faster, you would do it. And now we talked about John Andreoli in the pregame, and he's had a magnificent spring.
Well, we saw him 6 days ago. He had 4 hits in the game against the Sox. Our first game together. We'll always cherish it.
I have a tape of that.
The Smithsonian hasn't asked yet.
They will.
I've heard.
Oh, yeah.
Just inside 2-1 on Andreoli. AAA debut last year. Trying to get noticed, and has done a pretty strong job of that in this spring training. Well, strange things certainly happen in spring training, including an inside the park home run for Mr. Andreoli against the Padres just a couple of days ago. Really scooting around second.
What we saw in that ball game against our guys was that he can use the whole field. That's going to hold him in good stead.
Three and 2 from Robertson in his first inning. John Danks, 5 innings, gave up just 1 hit, a double to Candelario back in the 4th. Fastball fouled away. Your thoughts on Danks and his outing today?
He went out there to try to improve on one of his weaknesses, and he was able to do that. I love the fact that he was able to change speeds, that he was able to get and keep hitters off balance. And the fact, I mean, when you look at the numbers, they're terrific, but he's looking more at how the ball comes out of his hand and can he throw strikes with all of his pitches, and that was answered. He gave up just one hit, and he was able to keep the ball on both sides of the plate effectively. So for him, I think he's going to be ecstatic. I think Don Cooper is going to be ecstatic with this outing.
Two for Andrioli. Right in the zone with another fastball for Robertson. A pretty big pitching matchup for you tomorrow here on Comcast Sportsnet Chicago. Clayton Kershaw, Chris Sale will be dueling here.
That's going to be pretty entertaining. Maybe not for the hitters on both sides, but certainly for baseball fans watching two of baseball's best going head-to-head.
Maybe a couple more ingrown toenails on the rosters tomorrow that just flared up overnight.
Especially for left-handers, especially against Chris Sale, left-handers. It's not an entertaining at bat.
A breaking ball, strike three, 5 in a row in the strikeout category for Sox pitchers.
Take a look at the knees of Andrioli. They buckle, and that one right down the middle. So a long at bat, and David Robertson wins it.
So 2 down now for Matt Merton into the 3 position. Takes inside, ball 1. Nearly a .290 hitter in 346 games. Returning Cub, Matt Merton. Second base, and that'll do it. 7 in a row retired by Sox pitching. Robertson, a 1-2-3 sixth. And we go back inside our downtown Chicago studios and Chuck Hartline once again.
Tyler Saladino made an instant impression after making his big league debut last July. This season, he's in the mix for the starting job at shortstop, one that's more natural than the third base he played in 2015. Saladino takes us through his thought process at the position in Glendale.
If I'm playing shortstop, you have a huge responsibility because you have so much ground to cover. You have so many places to be, so many things to do, so many things to be paying attention to and focusing on throughout the whole game. I mean, there's no time taken off while you're out there. You know, if there's nobody on, you know, whoever the hitter is, you've got a position to be in, and you don't have the time to lollygag and look around and enjoy it. You know, as much as you want to be out there and be like, you know, look at this, you know, the field that you're on, all the people, all that kind of stuff, you just don't have time for it. So if you're playing shortstop, you've got to know the whole situation, take a look and see what it is that's going on, whether there's runners on base, nobody on, you know, a speedy runner, a lefty, a righty, the pitcher matchup against that hitter, sinker baller, cutter guy, you know, what he's got working that day, the types of swings guys are taking off them. And the more time I spend out here, the more reads I can get on the hitters that we're facing. So that's where you start to get an understanding of, you know, a guy that will stay inside of the ball a little bit more, or a guy that tends to roll over certain pitches, stay inside certain pitches. Then you can use that information to see the flight of the pitcher and his pitches, where he's throwing the ball that particular day. You start to get a really good feel for what he's got going. And if you know he's got his sinker working and you've seen that guy swing when he's got his sinker working, it's a pretty good chance the ball's going to end up in a certain area that you're ready for. And to me, those are the instincts or the knowledge that I try to use while I'm out there to be in the right position.
very cerebral game. 1-0 the Sox with the lead over the Cubs, and here is former starter, now reliever, Travis Wood.
Travis Wood gives Joe Maddon the versatility of having a guy that can go multiple innings out of the bullpen, and the Cubs have 3 of them. And that's becoming one of the new aspects of the game, having guys that if your starter gets taken out of the game or knocked out of the game early, you can use the next guy coming in for 2 or 3 or 4 innings, not worry about burning him out, and consequently saving the bullpen. So he's throwing to Wilson Contreras, who comes in behind the plate. He's one of those guys that was late to the catching department, but has shown to be one of the more valuable of the young guys with the Chicago Cubs.
1-1 to Avila. And fouled off, a ball and 2 strikes. Wholesale changes for the Cubs here. Carlos Penalver has come in at shortstop. Steven Bruno at second. Jesse Hodges at third. Partridge and the pear tree still unavailable today. Up and out. 2-2 from Wood to Avila. Avila with his first hit of the spring and his first at bat, a single through the right side. And he takes 3-2. Mention the patience of Alex Avila at the plate. And he will see pitch number 6 from Travis Wood before the lineup flips to the top and Austin Jackson once again. We've had quite the guest list today, haven't we? Frank Thomas here, Bo Jackson has stopped by, Chuck Garfien is chained to the studio desk.
It's been pretty much like a reality show, which could absolutely morph into a game show.
You think?
There's a chance.
3-2. Taken for strike 3. Travis Wood dodged the corner and 1 away. Sox fans celebrate a special birthday or anniversary or even host a business function in a Diamond Suite at a White Sox game. Diamond Suites can accommodate groups from 10 to 100 guests. Single game packages include a great food menu as well as beverages and parking passes. To purchase, visit whitesox.com/group. The low end there is the extent of all my friends. 100 is more Steve Stone's alley.
I can't wait to get back and have you sample Roy Rivas' cooking.
Yeah?
You're going to love that.
You know, with the way you've been dragging me around Arizona to good meals here and there, I feel like you're fattening me up for Thanksgiving.
Well, we're going to have to put a few pounds on you so you can make it through an extended season, hopefully that goes well into October.
You think I'm going to lose weight with every victory?
Could very well be. You know, this is a grueling game.
Yeah.
And concentration, more than anything else, will take the pounds off you.
Sitting in a chair is high exertion on a daily basis. 2-0 for Austin Jackson. And out to left field, Matt Merton. 2 down. Austin Jackson, by the way, I was talking to him earlier today. He was recruited, we were talking about the NCAA tournament, he was recruited to Illinois to play guard by Bruce Weber with those Darren Williams, D. Brown teams. He said Williams and Brown were the guys that took him around campus. And he thought about it, but the weather wasn't exactly what he had hoped for his college experience.
He made the wise choice, though, in the sport that he picked. Because at one point, he was an untouchable in the Yankee organization. It was just Curtis Granderson that forced the Yankees to make a move because Granderson was ideal for Yankee Stadium. Austin Jackson, with his outstanding defense, was perfect for Comerica Park with those huge alleys, and Jackson could go get them alley to alley. So it was a good trade for both teams.
Ball and a strike on Rollins. Jimmy Rollins 0 for 2, a strikeout, and a fielder's choice ground out.
This is going to surprise you. Probably something you haven't considered, certainly, and I wouldn't see why you would. But the chess grandmasters, notably Bobby Fischer, mentioned that his concentration was such that he would lose 10 pounds in a chess match.
Really?
That's why sitting in a chair, concentrating, as I know you do, as only you do, you can actually lose weight in the course of the commission of your job.
Ground ball is short. Ends this conversation. And we're very happy about it. Chuck Garfien losing weight by the moment inside our downtown Chicago studios. Chuck, are you still there?
I'm still here, still chained to the desk, but I love it. Great broadcast, guys. Enjoying it. Well, after high expectations in 2015, the White Sox fell short, finishing a disappointing 76-86. But with new additions and added personality, the team once again has high expectations for itself. Outfielder Adam Eaton describes his cautious optimism in part 2 of our ride home with him in Arizona.
Coming into this year, I'm very excited, but I'm kind of trying to keep it back. I'm trying to keep it refined where that I'm not gonna, not that I don't get my hopes up. I'm always excited for a season, but realistically have a religious look at it and understand that this is a tough league, a very tough division. That, again, I think we have a great team. I think we're going to have a heck of a year. But, again, I go home at night, and I think about it all the time. And I'm like, you know what, we're going to be all right this year. We're going to put together, you know, a good season. We're going to play a good brand of baseball and let the cards fall where they may. But like I said, last year was just kind of, she really deflated me as an individual, and I think as a team, and I think as a city, it was just tough because we did have such high hopes. But you know, coming into this year, like you said, a lot of new personalities, a lot of guys that have a lot of great experience and know how to win, has gotten the job done, has, you know, produced on an enormous stage time and time again. And again, I'm excited. I may not, you know, come to the park every day and try to show everybody in the media and whatever, but, you know, I am excited, but I'm trying to stay grounded at the same time. When I hop in the car, it's time for me to decompress. It's time for me to think about what just happened, how it happened, how I can get better, and that all happens in the car. So when usually if you're not sitting in here, I'm thinking about, okay, how did my BP go? You know, how, you know, this round, you know, I wasted this round. I didn't, you know, stick to my approach in this round. I didn't do what I needed to do. And it's kind of, you know, therapeutic for me to be able to just, you know, not really think about anything except for baseball, get it out. And then when I step foot out of my car and I walk to, you know, in Chicago, I walk to the elevator, I get rid of it because I know when I step foot in the house that I have a wife and I'm gonna have a child this year. And, you know, family, friends, whatever may be there, you know, I have to watch that.
A very personable Adam Eaton joining us, and Chuck Garfien as we're back for the 7th, and we're joined in the booth by the Sox Senior Vice President for Sales and Marketing, Brooks Boyer. Welcome.
Welcome to you, Jason.
Thank you.
It's great to be here, to see the weather, hear the crack of the bat. Something special. I wish everyone from Chicago could get a chance to be out here with us.
And you've got over 13,000 here today. That's a pretty good sign. You've got a wonderful performance by Johnny Danks. But what have you found to be the best you could possibly do as a marketer of this ball?
Well, I think it's ultimately when everything comes together, when you have a squad that plays to the level of our fans' expectations. That is always an amazing thing when you see the fans and the club pulling on the rope in the same direction. That's when there's always some magic, and we've been lucky to have a few seasons like that. Unfortunately, we've had some seasons that weren't like that, but to be able to represent the White Sox brand and represent the fans and try to bring a great experience to them, it's a lot of fun. We have fun with this every single day.
New video boards coming to U.S. Cellular Field.
A little bit bigger than the video board we have here at Camelback Ranch.
I was going to say, We haven't seen the unveiling yet. When's that going to come, and what should people expect?
I think what people will ultimately expect is a wow. It's a wow. The structure of the ballpark doesn't change dramatically. I was talking to someone about it in comparison to Wrigley, how everything had to look a little bit different because the two new signs kind of popped up out of nowhere. For our 3 new boards that we have, the right field board, left field board, are the same in the same location, so people will be somewhat used to those. The difference is in the center field. In center field, we go from the one board that was the smallest in all of baseball.
Bouncing ball to third, and a bare hand effort is there for out number 1. Nicely done by Mr. Frazier.
I think Ed Farmer just hung a star on that.
I think so.
So the board in center field, we go from having the smallest board in the league to having something that's in the top 5. And when you think about what it looks like, ultimately think of the board that was in center field with the advertisements around it, and all of a sudden you have it be all digital. So it is, it's very impactful. It's going to allow us to communicate more information to our fans. It's going to allow our fans to be able to interact with the board. We're going to have some fun things that we do every single inning where you're going to be able to interact with the board and win some prizes. So it's going to be a fun way to market this team.
We have some wonderful promotions. I particularly love the Dog Days, and it's certainly a fan favorite. Anything new this year that our fans should look forward to?
Well, before I came over here, I was on 890, our new flagship station, with Ed and DJ.
You went there first before us?
Well, you had a Hall of Famer.
That's true. That's true. Frank was in here.
So, with those guys, we talked about we're going to do a Grateful Dead night. Which, as I told them, I said, you guys are a lot older than I am, so it's probably more attractive to you than to me. But I think that's going to be something that we're trying that's going to be fun and unique. We have some giveaways between Gail Tucker, Beth Grabowski, and our marketing department. They've really come up with some quality items. We're going to have our signature fireworks. We're going to have a lot of fun at the ballpark this year, that's for sure.
Matt Albers gets a swing and a miss from Bruno for strikeout number 10 for Sox pitching today. What about ticket packages? What should fans look out for in that regard?
Well, as you guys know, the best way to get the very best seat is in some sort of season ticket package. And if we go anywhere from an 81-game package all the way down to a 7-game package. So if you're looking for something that would include opening day, maybe one of the crosstown games, season package is going to get you the best location. And so I encourage people to go to WhiteSox.com, check those out. Call us. We'll walk you through the process. We try to make things as easy as possible for our fans to get out to the ballpark. Our Family Sundays are coming back, where tickets are as low as $15 in the lower deck and $7 in the upper deck. Great way to bring the entire family out and to be able to experience White Sox baseball.
I love to see the youngsters come to the ballpark because it becomes habitual. If you make young baseball fans, they're going to be baseball fans for life. And when they see what the White Sox have to offer, and they sample what I believe is as good a concession stands as there is any place in baseball, I think they can't help but be captivated. And certainly it helps when you have the excitement of a good team. And I think this team is going to be exciting because of the offense.
Well, no question about it. You like to see the fireworks, and hopefully this team's going to put up quite a bit of, make us shoot off quite a bit of fireworks. I'd love to do a budget revision for more fireworks. That would be true. But that's why we get involved. We have 9 youth programs throughout the suburbs where all of the teams are White Sox teams. So that our commitment to growing the game at the lower levels and to getting kids out to the ballpark is something that I think is an initiative that is going to be important to the new commissioner, or somewhat new commissioner, but it's also really important for us to grow the next generation of White Sox fans, for sure.
You mentioned Frank Thomas, by the way, being here in the booth. What's it like to have Frank running around the complex once again?
Frank is a terrific representative of the White Sox. He resonates with a lot of White Sox fans, and it is terrific to have him back, to be able to interact with the fans. They all remember, and it's fun to have him back.
Brooks, thank you for the time.
Always good luck, Jason.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Brooks. Brooks Boyer, Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for the Sox, who hold a 1-0 lead. And back to Chuck.
Thanks, guys. Daryl Boston spent 11 years in the big league, 6 of those with the White Sox. This will be his 4th season as the team's first base coach, and he has one of the biggest personalities in the organization. So we decided to mic him up during an intra-squad game in Arizona to give you a closer look.
Bleep, 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 bleep. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Watch the throw. Watch it. Back, 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 back. Go ahead, go ahead. Come on, come on. Come on, Pito. You got to go. Go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead. Behind you, running behind you. Oye, listo. 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 Here we go. All right, J-Ro. Go ahead. Do it, Fraze. Get your son. All day long. Back, back. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Watch the throw, Jerry. Watch the throw. Come on. Come on, throw it. Come on. Double play that. They probably double played that. Watch the line drive. Don't get doubled up on line drive. Running with your head up. Don't run Fraze off. Don't run Fraze off now. Back, back, get back here, get back here. All right. Nice play, Ivy. Nice play.
Join us at U.S. Cellular Field throughout the 2016 season for free T-shirt Thursday. The first 10,000 fans at every White Sox regular season home game get a specially designed White Sox T-shirt. To purchase your free T-shirt Thursday tickets, visit WhiteSox.com today.
Outstanding.
You mean the view?
The view is outstanding. Oh, you thought I meant the read?
No, I knew you meant the view.
The view was spectacular.
2 games in, I know that you rarely compliment me. Nice to have Brooks Boyer here talking about. I'm excited to see the new video board. Look, I grew up with the old one, so I'm pumped.
I'm pumped to see this ball club with many more fireworks going off at home than last year when things weren't particularly good in the long ball situation. I believe this year we're going to see a whole lot more. You've got Frazier at third, who, by the way, showed you last inning just an aspect of his game that we're really going to appreciate. And that's coming in on ground balls. He's an exceptional fielder, and I know pitchers are going to be really happy when they see plays like that. And Laurie at second is going to give a little more pop at second base. And I think when I talk to some of the guys, especially Joe McEwing, about the infielding of Brett Lawrie, they're pleasantly surprised that it's pretty decent down there. It's going to be a good double play combination, whoever winds up being the everyday shortstop.
Here's Abreu, who takes the first pitch off the plate. Fangraphs, the fine folks there who do some of the analytics and stuff, they did a story just the other day about Jose Abreu being one of the best fastball hitters in terms of run value in baseball. He was, in fact, #1 according to run value per fastball, meaning he creates more runs off of fastballs than anybody else in Major League Baseball.
Not surprising, because he's one of the smartest hitters in all of baseball, and he came into this league with a game plan. I mean, he was still 26 years old at the time, but he was a very polished hitter and a polished run producer, and that doesn't go hand in hand. You can be a very good hitter without the idea about how to drive in runs, but he knows his place in the middle of the order. He's going to have to be a run producer. So he figures out what pitchers are going to do with him, and he looks for certain pitches, and then he's fast enough to be able to to react if he doesn't get the pitch he's looking for.
Inside there, 3-1 on Abreu. The only run across in this game was on an Austin Jackson sacrifice fly back in the third. Only 3 hits total in the game. I'm going to test the baseball karma here and say we are cruising along.
This one is moving right along.
3-2 on Abreu.
There was a time when Travis Wood was thought of as a pretty good starter and a guy that probably had a very promising future as a starting pitcher. It hasn't worked out to that end for him, but he's a very valuable member of the bullpen for the Cubs.
First came up to the majors in the Reds organization.
he's an excellent hitter. Now, that won't come into play quite as much as it does when he's a starting pitcher, but he's been used occasionally as a pinch hitter, and that certainly saves moves off the bench for Joe Maddon. Moves off the bench that are essential in the National League.
Up and in, ball 4, and Steve has something to tell you about.
He's the son of an NBA coaching legend who started Glenbrook North. We're getting to that. Later, he started Glenbrook North, and then he went on to Coach K's Duke Blue Devils. Get to know Northwestern's head men's basketball coach, Chris Collins, on the all-new Inside Look, presented by Cadillac, which, by the way, I am the proud owner and driver of one. Premiering Sunday night at 6 on CSN Chicago.
You're a big-time car guy. I didn't know that about you until...
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've been featuring Adam Eaton and his love of Corvettes. I was driving a Cadillac who had a Corvette engine in it, and it was a pretty nice car until it was demolished this spring.
Should keep away from those other cars.
You're not kidding.
Jerry Sands in as a pinch runner over at first for Abreu. 2-0. By the way, on Chris Collins in Northwestern, it's been a long time since a non-Illini basketball team has made it to the tournament out of the state of Illinois. There's nobody in the NCAA tournament this year from Illinois.
It's going to get better.
Yeah, you'd think so. 2-0 on Frazier. He's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a pop out. And that will change as that one gets down.
And we're going to see Todd Frazier, I believe, leave this one after having 3 at-bats.
Matt Davidson checks in.
And speaking of Todd Frazier, let's take a look at earlier when the bare hand pick and throw easily getting the out at first base.
Now, he grew up as a shortstop. He was a shortstop on that Toms River team back in '98 when he was 12 years old, and has moved very seamlessly over the years to third.
We saw one Hall of Famer doing just the opposite. His name was Cal Ripken Jr., who came up a third baseman. There's only one guy in the Oriole organization who thought he could play shortstop, and that was a guy who really mattered. The Hall of Famer Earl Weaver moved him to short, and obviously it worked out very well for all parties concerned.
You saw Davidson, who's come into the game. This one off of Wood over to first. And safe over at first. Cabrera got down the line. Guzman couldn't hang on to it.
And they're going to see if Travis Wood is okay. It's the last thing you really need is one of your valuable relievers hurt. Melky crushes this ball. This ball hit off the leg of Wood, and apparently they are absolutely convinced that he's 100% healthy, because nobody's going out to talk with him.
Usually you get at least the cursory look.
Yeah, just, hey, how you doing? You want to stay in the rest of the game? Apparently he's not getting the option, but he appears to be okay.
It's unspoken. Javi Garcia's 0 for 2. You mentioned Cal, and I didn't know until dinner the other night that you overlapped quite interestingly with Cal Ripken Jr.
He came up, and on the day when I had decided that my talent had completely run out and my arm was not going to get any better, I decided to hang him up, went in to see the general manager, Hank Peters. That night, that was May 31st, 1982.
Seeing a single for Garcia. It gets one in, and the Sox double their lead to 2. Sands scores.
And the irony of that night, May 31st of 1982, is that Cal Ripken started his streak. That particular night, he had been hit in the head the 2 games before, took 1 day off, and started his streak the next day. So Bobby continues a brilliant spring, driving in his 12th run, taking it through the left side. Another example of a ball not being hit at anybody and then scooting through the infield. And so the Sox add to their lead.
12 out of 29 this spring for Javi Garcia, who's retooled his approach at the plate. Cubs 0 for 2. So it took you leaving the game for one of the greatest streaks of all time to start.
Turned around Cal's career.
Congratulations.
I was no longer there, and he blossomed. Had they known that, they would have released me 2 years earlier.
He thanks you from the bottom of his heart. Cabrera and Garcia out for pinch runners. Jason Coates in at second. Carlos May in at first. 4 in a row have reached for the Sox.
And that's how it looks. The fastest man standing at first base.
Just in case you didn't believe us, there they are. Infield in for the Cubs. This one fouled away by Laurie. Tim Anderson to hit next.
Getting a very good look this spring. Former #1 draft pick of our Chicago White Sox.
Junior college in Mississippi. 1-2 on Laurie. Checked his swing, and it's upstairs. 2-2.
Trying to go higher than high with a fastball, and Laurie does not swing. The ball bouncing out of the glove of Contreras. Contreras got a chance to be a good one, but because he's a converted infielder, he's got still a little polishing to do to his defensive game. But the Cubs really think the world of him.
Large RBI chance for Laurie with the bases loaded. And now Contreras is going to go talk to Wood.
You got to be very careful who you decide to trade and who you decide to keep, and that was illustrated graphically by the Tampa Bay Rays, who traded a man who had closed at times. A hard-throwing left-hander by the name of Jake McGee was traded to the Rockies. That was pretty good at the time. What they didn't anticipate was their closer, Brad Boxberger, 27 years old, had 41 saves last year, made the All-Star team, and he will be out at least 8 weeks. And so, unfortunately for them, now they're devoid of a closer. And as good as Tampa Bay has been with retooling their bullpen over the years, this is a difficult situation for them.
Yeah, this is a different spot, certainly. Laurie fouls it away off of Contreras. You know, the timing in spring training sometimes so odd. We were talking about it before, that the Cardinals end up with the injury to Johnny Peralta just days after Ian Desmond gets signed by the Rangers to go play the outfield. That's the perfect type of guy you would think to fill that spot. Now he's off the market. You wait a while and suddenly you lose a guy.
Well, quite obviously, you can't really predict the timing of anything that comes along. I think Desmond spent a long time available, but a lot of people didn't want to meet his contractual demands, but he's a guy who can really hit. So that most likely is going to help the Rangers.
Well, he was another one of those cats that was attached to a draft pick as well.
And that's a consideration. Anytime you have that where you can sign a free agent, but you're going to lose a top draft pick if it's not in the top 10. That's what's called a protected pick. If you're in the top 10 for draft picks, you don't lose that first round pick. If you're not, adios, and you better hope the guy you sign is at least commensurate with the guy that you're going to lose, and some drafts are deeper than others.
Inside to Laurie, who does have a very choosy disposition at the plate.
There's a few guys in this lineup, unlike last year, a few guys are going to run the count deep. And sometimes you got to make sure you don't get that starting pitcher with less than 100 pitches before you get to the 7th inning. You just as soon him with 100 through 5 if you could, and you can get that with patient hitters.
There's strike 3, Wood. One away. Hey, join us for opening weekend at U.S. Cellular Field. First 20,000 fans on Saturday, April 9th. Get a White Sox winter hat presented by Comcast Sportsnet. Visit WhiteSox.com to purchase your tickets today. And by the way, if you wear that in March here in Arizona, we will think you are loopy.
Well, you will have a very thin head, certainly, but I've already arranged to get you a dozen of those. They're very good looking, and you can get them in each and every color to match your very colorful Comcast shirts.
I got quite the wardrobe collection today, huh?
You did, and I thought it was wonderful. And the fact is, they did short you with one red shirt, and now you have that shirt.
Well, you lobbied heavily for the red shirt.
I did. I think you look especially good in red. It matches your eyes.
Only in certain pictures. Ball and a strike on Tim Anderson with the bases loaded for the Sox here in the 7th. Anderson in the air to center, and John Andrioli has that cased. Davidson scores, and the Sox are back on the board. They lead 3-0.
Last year, seemingly, we went a week without 2 sacrifice flies in the same game, sometimes even longer than that, but there's been 2 today. Jackson in the 3rd, and now Anderson here in the 7th to pad the lead.
That's 13 sacrifice flies this spring for the Sox.
Situational hitting is something that has become lost with many major league teams, but the good ones have good situational hitters.
Victor Sanchez swinging at the first pitch. Well, Robin Ventura was a pretty darn good situational hitter back in the day. 18 grand slams.
He was pretty good at just about every aspect of hitting. What was remarkable about Robin was coming along defensively. He wasn't great when he started. He became outstanding at third base defensively, which is something you really have to work at. That's not the glamour part of the game. Most hitters will tell you that for a lot of guys, especially good hitters, the defense will come along later. For Robin, who did a whole lot to get better, he was thought of as one of the better third basemen during his time.
Chris Kamka nugget of the day is that Robin Ventura, I'm told in my ear, had 1 mound appearance as well, and he was caught by David Ross.
The venerable David Ross.
The even more venerable Chris Kamka.
Yes.
Stat man extraordinaire. We'll have to ask Robin about his time on the mound when we hear from him next. 5 straight days of Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet, by the way. You're going to get sick of me after.
It's going to be terrific. Well, you know, I'll just do every other inning, starting with the 3rd of the 5.
Is that in your contract?
That's right.
1-2. And fouled off of himself by Sanchez.
This is not pleasant at any time. But you can see that shin guard that he wears is in a pretty good spot, because it hit right off it, and you would shudder to think what the shin would look like without that protection.
Well, we talk so much about the addition of shifting in baseball. I mean, that was a perfect shift defensively for his own leg for Sanchez.
I think he had a pretty good idea about where the foul ball was going to hit him.
That's right.
And he judged perfectly.
He's aware of his own tendencies. So far today for the Cubs. John Danks started the game and only gave up a couple of base runners, 2 walks, hit a batter, and a double in the 4th to Candelario. On the outside corner, strike 3. 7 complete, 3-0. The Sox get 2 more in the inning on 3 hits, and we get 1 more. Check with Chuck Garfien.
Thanks, Jason. With a strong contingent of Latin players, the White Sox have several soccer fans in the clubhouse. Deanna Navarro keeps a soccer ball in that clubhouse, and as a way to supplement their baseball workouts, they routinely play a game, volleying as many times back and forth as humanly possible. Here it is.
I'm not a great soccer player, but I can kick the ball around a little bit. I just think it's a great form of conditioning. I think it helps me out on my game too. So plus I love soccer. I've been following soccer for many years now, and you know, like you say, everybody comes by my locker, grab the ball, kicks in.
A lot of guys here like soccer. Everybody follow this sport, and it's good. It's a good time for enjoy the games.
Time for America's fastest growing sensation, Steve Stone. The numbers bear it out. It's called Sticks and Stone, where we ask you about a player you faced, and you got to tell us how you did.
Well, I know at least he hit 1 3-run homer, and I'll tell you the reason why. There's a story that goes to that. We don't have a lot of time, but I will tell you they told me to start him off with a slow curveball, and that was in spring training. Then when I did it during the season, he hit a 3-run homer. So
that was the only homer.
Yeah, with 2 hits and that particular home run and the 3 runs driven in. Geez, I struck him out once. Billy Williams changed my career because when I came in the league, I threw exceptionally hard. And I didn't think there was anybody who could pull the ball, and I had him 0-2 at Candlestick Park. Threw a fastball 6 inches off the outside corner, and he started to swing at it. Next thing I knew, it was in Bobby Bonds' glove in right field. Billy was a left-hand hitter. And I thought, wow, they can pull that pitch up here. It honestly changed my whole viewpoint of pitching in the major leagues, and I have Billy Williams to thank for that.
What did you do differently after that?
I didn't let Billy Williams pull the ball.
It's very specific advice.
Yes.
You learned?
And that was that.
Please send in your Sticks and Stone suggestions that you'd like to hear. Hashtag Sticks and Stone.
Just don't send in Jim Rice because we are not going to show it as a public service. 21 for 39.
That's not good.
No.
Here's Jake Petrichko, who last we saw him was getting flared with a line drive 6 days ago.
First batter he faced hit one right back, got him in the bicep of his right arm, which is the throwing arm. And fortunately, he was able to come away without a whole lot of damage because he's a big part of the bullpen. When he's getting the ball over the plate, which he did a whole lot last year, he was very good.
Got a strike that time. 2-1.
Jake last year, 4-3, his ERA 3.63, and he appeared in 62 games, so he was durable, and he's got very good stuff.
Big chopper, and that's wide of first. So Garcia throws it away, and the error against Leury Garcia.
He's got a strong arm. He has to go up the middle, and then this part, not all that good.
So the Cubs have their first base runners since the 4th, and Petrichko will try and pitch over it. On the way to second, Lombardozzi throws it into left. So 2 errors in the inning, and the Cubs have some business to be done, it seems.
would like to, but you certainly have to make sure of one. And this one way wide of Leary as he goes across the bag. And so runners at the corners. Actually, runners at second and third, nobody out.
Well, you mentioned it earlier. Very rarely as a relief pitcher do you get a chance to hit for yourself, but Travis Wood will go ahead and do that here.
Well, certainly because he's going to be used as a pinch hitter occasionally during the course of the season. He's always swung the bat well.
High ball to strike. Garcia was playing back at short, and so the run comes home on the ground ball from Wood. And a runner at third, one down. The Cubs are on the board for the first time today.
What should be 3 out and nobody on instead is a runner at third, and now a 2-run lead as Wood drives in the run on a little tapper to shortstop.
So here is Guzman, who takes the ball inside. Danks, Robertson, Albers, and now Petrichka, the 4 pitchers so far in today for the Sox. 4 of the 44 remaining in Major League camp with the retirement of Adam LaRoche today. That became official just short of game time. Away from Sanchez, and it's 3-2.
This goes as a wild pitch, and we'll take a look at the technique. In the dirt, and once again, not the pitch you want to backhand out in front of your body.
What would you rather see?
You'd rather see him turn the glove over, bring the elbows in, slant his body forward, and content to block the pitch with a man at third base. That particular technique is going to get you a number of wild pitches, and something that we won't see a lot of from Alex Avila this year. Sometimes, you know, if you don't get a chance to catch quite as much like Sanchez, you're going to be able to make that mistake. I think when he looks at it, he'll realize that the technique just wasn't what it should be.
Down and out, 3-2 on Guzman, who came up through the Mariners organization. John Andrioli, one of the hot hitters in Cubs camp, is on deck. Three-two, and he got him, strike 3.
That one had good movement, and he was able to throw it by him. So Jake looking for his 5th out of the inning, which is not conducive, by the way, to a real good inning. However, not because he hasn't thrown the ball well, because he's got a lot of life on the fastball today.
Seems to be outside the rules of baseball as well, that rare 5th out.
Rare 5th out, yes. For starting pitchers, when you are not able to make double plays or extend innings, it adds to a whole lot more pitching, more pitches, and where a guy would normally go into or maybe through the 7th inning, he might only last 5. That was because of a spotty defense.
It's one thing we'll watch for tomorrow. Chris Sale has told us that one of the areas of his game he's trying to improve in spring training is fewer pitches per at bat. get into the games a little longer. Although the Sox led Major League Baseball in starting pitching innings last year.
I think for Chris, it's going to be difficult to limit the pitches because he's going to strike out a whole lot of guys. And very rarely do you strike him out on 3 straight pitches, so he's going to get a lot of foul balls. His stuff is so good that you don't see a lot of contact, and consequently, as far as first pitch outs, with Chris Sale, that doesn't happen very much. So very rarely will you see a prolific strikeout pitcher able to limit his pitches unless he doesn't throw much out of anything out of the strike zone.
The 2-strike strikeout as rare as the 5th out in an inning.
True.
3-2 on Andrioli. The 2 spot in the order. Matt Merton has occupied the 3 spots. He's coming in for Anthony Rizzo. There's strike 3. Andrioli didn't like it. Petrichko will take it. And the Cubs are subdued in the 8th. They get 2 without the benefit of a hit. And we have the benefit of Chuck Garfunkel.
All right, Carlos Rodon has a 5-pitch arsenal led by an overpowering fastball and a dominant slider. The second-year pitcher looks to build off his rookie campaign, and he recently took us through his pitch grips at Camelback Ranch.
Regular 4-seam. It's pretty normal. I'm sure 95% of the guys in the league probably throw a 4-seam like that, and then I got a 2-seam across the tracks here. Nothing different, you know. Same arm angle, same everything. It's just the grip changes the way the ball's going to move. That's a 2-seam, and then there's your 4.
How about your changeup?
Changeup's kind of like just a circle, regular circle, light on the grip. Biggest thing is I'm still trying to learn it myself, but biggest thing is you want to get on top of it. Slider grip, just across the tracks there. Thumb underneath on that seam, just like a fastball. And then turn it over, hit yourself in the belt buckle. That's what I think.
What makes a dominant wipeout pitch?
You gotta be able to throw it for strikes, and you have to be able to make it look like a strike. Those are 2 big things, and it has to appear as a fastball coming out your hand. Everything's got to look the same no matter what pitch you throw. It's got to look like your fastball, and that's a deception for the hitter. I mean, he's going to be able to tell if you drop a little bit or you're slowing up. I mean, he's going to crush it if he sees anything like that. Coop and I stumbled upon a routine, and we used that routine for the rest of the season. I mean, the biggest thing was getting that first pitch over, getting ahead of guys, cut the walks down, let them put the ball in play, get themselves out, and that's how it all happened.
Join the 2016 Sox Pride Club for exclusive ticket offers and seating locations all season long. Game day opportunities, club auctions, ballpark tours, membership gifts, and more. Visit SoxPrideClub.com to join today. Get a lot of Sox pride, don't you?
Certainly do, and have for some time. And we've got a new pitcher coming into the ball game.
Spencer Patton on the mound for the Cubs.
Save opportunities. 1 out of 1 with 5 innings pitched. No walks and 9 strikeouts. That's pretty impressive. Opponents hitting just 118.
And he fires in strike 1. He is out of Parkland College in lovely Champaign. By way of SIU Edwardsville. And for a strike to J.B. Shuck, occupying the #1 spot in the order now, and for Austin Jackson, who had a sac fly in the 3rd. Nice spring so far for JB.
Despite having a very good year last year, like so many of the Sox players, especially ones without ticketed everyday positions, you've got to make the team each and every year. So each and every game and at bat is important for JB.
On the ground at 3rd, and Hodges for out #1.
Tomorrow, Camelback Ranch bragging rights will be on the line as the White Sox battle it out with the Dodgers. Coverage starts tomorrow at 3 o'clock on CSN Chicago, brought to you by Knaus Auto Park. And see, it's bragging rights for this particular ballpark because it's shared by the Dodgers and our White Sox.
We all appreciate the explanation. Thank you.
You never know why bragging rights are on the line in this capricious game of ours.
Here's Garcia. Capricious now?
Yes. I figured once a day I'll get one of those in. You prefer, I know, the off days I use them.
Your expansive vocabulary is interminable. Happy birthday to Mr. Garcia. Upstairs, 2-1. What makes it capricious?
As far as knowing exactly why bragging rights are on the line, because it changes. Sometimes bragging rights are on the line. Other times, not so much.
Both fleeting and transient.
But in this case, yes, there'll be a lot of people bragging about the outcome of the game tomorrow. I think a lot of fans are going to be very happy when they come and find out, because most fans don't know who's going in the spring training games. They find out that it's Kershaw and Sale. That's a pretty attractive matchup. Again, we mentioned 13,130 on hand today.
Second base, Bruno the underhand for the second out. You know, got to thinking for the moment that the Camelback Ranch bragging rights should get a trophy. Don't you think? For the Sox-Dodgers games in spring? A steer.
I'll take it up with Brooks Boyer.
We just had Brooks in. We could have asked.
Talked about that, yes.
Meantime, back at the ranch.
Well, also, the advantage of sharing a facility with another team is you get to play a number of B games against one another without having to travel, which is ideal. Travel, of course, is a whole lot better in Arizona than it is in Florida because you don't have to go from one side of the state to the other. Probably the longest road trip for any of these teams is 45, 50 minutes, maybe with heavy traffic an hour, but that's rare.
Travel costs are very low. Dodgers-Sox games, all it takes the fuel in the golf cart. It's the only travel cost. 2 strikes on Jerry Sands, who, again, with now the gap at designated hitter, may be back in play for that final spot on the bench for the Sox. If he was not in play previously.
I mean, there's going to be a few players that have an added opportunity that they wouldn't naturally have gotten.
Contreras hangs on to the foul tip, and strike 3. It's a 1-2-3 inning. And we go to the ninth, 3-2. Sox trying to put it away here at Camelback Ranch. Chuck?
Thanks, Jason. Carson Fulmer was the White Sox first-round pick just a year ago. Like Chris Sale and Carlos Rodon before him, many are projecting him to be on a fast track to the big leagues. The hard-throwing righty has used lessons learned from Vanderbilt, who produced former Cy Young Award winner David Price.
Going to school at Vandy definitely helped a lot. Coach Corbin does a great job of getting all the alumni and all the players that have played there in the past back in to help us get ready for what we're experiencing now. So having Price there, having Sonny there, having Pedro there, it definitely was a unique opportunity, not only for me but for all of my teammates. And they definitely have give us some advice moving forward, and this definitely helped both in the locker room and on the field.
He's a very mature kid, definitely. I think that's, I don't know if it's something they do at Vanderbilt, but they seem to get a lot of kids that are like that, and he's no exception to that. He's very mature for his age, and experience-wise and everything that comes with it. It's we drafted a good one.
Fact is, if Carson contributes to the 2017 White Sox, that'd be a pretty quick path out of Vanderbilt to the big leagues. But he certainly has the stuff and the makeup and the edge that he could well force the issue, just like Chris and Carlos did. I think the best way encapsulate who he is as a person and the makeup was probably put best by Nick Hostetler, our scouting director, where he said that Carson is the only player who's been around ever that he wants to start Game 7 of the World Series and marry his daughter. And that's a testament to who he is, both between the white lines and then the special guy he is in the clubhouse, too.
MLB TV Premium is everything you've come to expect and more. New low price for 2016. You can watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams live in true HD on over 400 supported devices and 5 unsupported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB TV for details. That's the best invention. I mean, there's sliced bread, but MLB TV is actually significantly more important.
MLB TV and what it gives you for what you pay is one of the best values around. You get a chance to see just about everything. As Nate Jones comes into the game to try to wrap it up, I love the fact that on our, is it approved devices or regular devices?
Just the supported
registered,
ones.
supported devices.
Supported ones, yeah.
We get to see every game going on, get up to the minute everything. And for baseball aficionados and amateurs alike, it's really a nice addition to your summer. And you look at the numbers on Nate Jones, 3 innings. He's got overwhelming stuff. Going to come back, I assume, 100% healthy, and that's a huge addition.
Looks good there. 3-pitch strikeout to Merton, and the 13th strikeout for Sox pitching today.
Matt Merton originally came up with the Boston Red Sox. And was one of those guys that was almost a tweener. He could always hit, always had a good eye, always went deep in the count, but as a corner outfielder, because he didn't have great speed, he didn't have the power you really needed, so he's moved around quite a bit, including Japan.
First pitch fouled away by Contreras from Jones. Wilson Contreras, who made his Double-A debut last year and hit .333 to lead the Southern League, the Tennessee Smokies.
One of the things I'll be working on to try to smooth out is the transition of the throat drops. I've opened up 3 new ones without even coming close to finishing the old ones. Not a good thing.
That's poor conservation on your part.
I know. Timing. Timing is everything, but it's early in the spring. You don't get your timing till later. Would you like one?
Not one of those. Duck. 2 strikes from Jones. And it's fouled away by Contreras.
They can throw 100, and he's got a slider that's unhittable when it's close to the zone. In an unusual motion, so it's hard to pick up the baseball. And well, what an addition to the pen a healthy Nate Jones would be.
What are hitters seeing with that motion?
They're not seeing a whole lot. I mean, the pitchers that really get hit hard are pitchers that you can see from 55 feet away, 56 feet away, because by the time the pitcher strides, he's probably that close to the plate. You can see it out of his hand, and you follow it all the way. The pitchers where it's more difficult to hit, whether he has great stuff or not, are the pitchers who are deceptive. And a pitcher then is going to pick it up maybe 5 feet, 6 feet out of the pitcher's hands. You watch this motion, and because he throws it almost like a catcher would, he cocks it above his head. They don't think they follow it right away, and certainly you can't differentiate the difference between his fastball and his slider. If you could, he wouldn't get as many awkward swings as he gets.
Tip foul. Just got a piece. Contreras did.
Watch it again. Watch how the arm is cocked. It goes actually behind his head. It's almost the release of what a converted catcher would do. And Nate is overwhelming at times and deceptive most of the time.
Fouled off again by Contreras. Cubs scored their only 2 runs last inning on a couple of errors and an RBI ground out. John Danks only surrendered 1 hit in 5 innings and struck out 7 with 2 walks.
That's really the big story of this day, because Danks needed a bounce back. He came out, had a definitive game plan, which we articulated to you early in the game, and he was able to make it work. Get everything over the plate, change speeds, kept the hitters off balance. And all things considered, this for him was not only the best outing he's had of the spring, but just a terrific outing overall.
Coates in left. 2 away. Well, if you're John Danks, what do you take moving forward from an outing like this? How do you then approach your final couple starts in spring?
I think you're feeling pretty good about the idea that you came in with a game plan, you were able to execute it, and everything moved coming out of his hand. That part is good. Now what he has to do is come back next time out, be able to either work on the same thing, which he's going to do part of, but make sure that the other things hold together. The cutter, he would love to get inside to the right-handers. To do that, it helps to be able to set them up away. For him, what he's got to start doing is start mixing that big, slow curveball in, because that's a big part of his arsenal during the season. He's not using it quite as much now as he would if things were sailing along. So I think we'll see that next time out.
Nice pick. It's short. Garcia, and that'll do it. Nifty way to end the ball game. Sox win at 3-2 over Joe Maddon's